Hi lovelies, welcome back to another video. So I hope you guys are doing amazing in mind, body, and spirit. So I know I look kind of rough because I did that thing that I do, which is leave my makeup on, so don't judge me, okay? It's just you and me, comadreando, you know, it's alright. Nadie tiene que saber. But anyways, so I'm bringing you a topic and trying to make flowers at the same time. Wish me luck, because I haven't done that just yet. But I'm trying to boom, boom, double hustle, you know? Boom, boom. So, we'll see if I'm able to do it. Because I'm literally in my PJs. Comfy and cozy, just chillaxing. Wearing my new Aries necklace. Look how cute, from Laura's Boutique. I love it. I'm gonna have to get Piggy's, which is a Cancer. I still have my lovely necklace. My mom has this Zlata one. Don't know where that's at. I need to ask her for it. Anywho, so I gotta make blue, this royal blue flower, and a yellow one. I'm gonna be adding white to it. Now, the catch is I don't remember what pattern to make it with. So, first step is to cut the flower. I already did that. I mean, pre-cut these pieces of ribbon. Did that already. So now you're gonna see me play with this guy, my torch that I use like a pen. Doot, doot, doot. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm being careful. Being safe. This table might be too close. Let me back it up a little. But yes, I got this. Don't worry. No se preocupen. Ustedes tranquilos y yo nerviosa. It's alright. So today's topic though, before I start making these flowers, is the importance, the importance of being present when someone confides in you. Okay, about whatever is weighing heavy on their heart, whether it be relationship, whether it be work related, whether it be school related, anything. Okay, it's important for you. Turn my TV off. It's important for you to be present because that's like your one chance to make an impression or make an impact on this individual's life, right? So I'm gonna give you a few examples as they come to my mind of certain situations where I was reached out to, right, by somebody I know. And I won't say any names just because I'm respecting their privacy, but I did get permission from them, so I appreciate their love and support for allowing me to bring up their troubles, but because they know that it's for a great reason, to make sure people know they're not alone through their struggles. They need to be heard, to felt acknowledged and validated, right? Is the whole purpose of bringing this stuff up. So the first one I will bring up, okay, she and I kind of relate in the sense of it's kind of hard dealing with a baby daddy that isn't so much present, right? Not only physically, but financially not supportive. It is rough out here, okay? So I've had friends come and tell me, hey, I'm going through this and that. Like, okay, recently, right? I had a friend tell me that she was feeling sick as a dog, okay? She felt so bad, and then I think her youngest also was feeling bad, right? But that she couldn't go out and DoorDash, nor could she take herself or her child to the doctor. Because why? Her tags were expired, or because her insurance wasn't paid, right? And guess what? That's because she reached out, right, to her baby daddy, who she's no longer with. Okay, I get it. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they need to be responsible. They still need a help, right? And that broke my heart to know that she had to be struggling like that while she's feeling sick, right? And so I'm just trying to give her a sense of hope, a sense of like, I hope you feel better. And like, I think we're talking about like if she's taking any medications, and I try to check up on her and make sure she's okay, right? So like the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's been moments in my life, right, where it's so hard for me to even bring up what's going on with me. And I've said this before, like, I'm the type to suffer in silence, right? Which isn't healthy. It's not good. I'm working on it, all right? I'm working on it. So when the person finally gets the courage, right, to bring it up to someone in hopes that they're not going to judge them, in hopes they're not going to just throw all kinds of opinion, in hopes that they can get some kind of just venting and possibly some advice, right? And I've had instances where I do that and there's nothing. I'm not given anything back. And I'm just like, what was the point of me going through telling them? Because now they know my business. And that's another thing too, that you got to make sure when someone tells you something that it doesn't go anywhere else. It needs to stay between the two of you, and that's it. Because there's a trust for them to be telling you their business in the first place, right? So you have to truly value that and give them validation of how important it is. Wow, that you trusted me. Thank you so much, you know? And this is for you to have a stronger bond in the end, right? Now, when I trusted someone and they, you know, there was no advice given back or whatever, right? Sometimes you don't always need advice back. So I very much appreciate just being heard, right? That's always nice too. But it's just, I don't know how to explain it. But the point is that when you do decide to open up to someone and they don't give you advice back, don't feel bad. Because maybe that person doesn't even know what to tell you, right? They don't know what to advise you. They don't know how to comfort you. And that's not their fault. They're not built that way, right? And so that's something I had to learn for myself, because I am built that way. I'm somebody who, the way my mind works is a constant thought process of comforting, offering advice, and that could be so many things, right? I sometimes explain it as options, right? Of having different options for them to attempt, right? Depending on their situation. But like for me, I tell my friends, the more that you tell me, the easier it's going to be for me to be able to help you. Because like, let's say they tell me part of it, right? Part of the story or whatever. So I'm giving them advice, and guess what? It ain't going to work. Why? Because you didn't give me crucial pieces, because you're embarrassed or because X, Y, and Z, right? So now the advice I'm giving you might make your situation worse. So that's why it's important to make sure to give me all the details so that I can analyze from a bigger scope, right? From outside looking in, of where your focus should be, where your move should be next, right? And this is really, really important. And so that was one situation, right? And then I had another friend who, she is an amazing woman. I'm not saying my first one is not an amazing woman, but I'm just stating, like, these individuals I bring up, we are all human, right? So we are constantly busy. Life happens, this, that, and the other, right? But she, the second person, is also like me, right? So I'm thinking I might give people like nicknames that are way out there that don't relate to the person anyways. So Sammy was the first one. Sally is this one, right? So Sally deals with a lot of stress on a daily basis, right? And she's married and she has 2 children, right? And so she's not the type to sit there and confide about things either. She's very reserved, right? And so when she reaches out and asks if I can talk, right, I immediately, okay, no, you know what, this is serious, right? Why? Because she doesn't do that. So I immediately freed myself and was like, what's going on? How are you doing? Right? So she begins to open up of considering divorce, which was just mind-blowing, right? Because if someone to have gotten, right, this is 10 plus years of marriage, gotten to a point where they're considering divorce and reaching out to divorce lawyers is a scary situation, you know? So, when this person reached out to me, and tells me this, I'm like, what happened? What is it that is going on that has pushed you to feel like this might be your option, right? And so she begins to state the fact that in marriage, I get that sometimes the spouses can get super comfortable, right? Which is not always a good thing, because then one or the other doesn't feel appreciated, valued anymore. There's no longer that woo factor of making sure you do for each other and supportive of each other, and, you know, like you did at the very beginning. So when she began to state these things to me, I'm like, wait a minute, right? Like this is unheard of. Like, it doesn't make sense. So she began to tell me like, oh yeah, he just comes home and wants to just be on his phone, and I ask him for help and he's like, I'll be right there, and ends up falling asleep, right? So I always try to think of both perspectives. And that's one thing about me, that I'm not going to just side with whoever I'm speaking to, right? I want to know, like I said, as much information as I can, because then I can really analyze the situation to be able to provide the best advice I can, right? So she was just stating, you know, the things that she had felt and how she wasn't feeling appreciated because he comes home and says, well, why didn't you do this? What have you been doing all day, right? So that's tough, because it's not fair to her. He may very well be out there on the field and, you know, working and stuff, and she's back at home also working while juggling the household, meaning taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, right? And doing business. So it broke my heart to hear that she didn't feel that support from her husband, because it wasn't like him, because I've known them as a unit for years and years, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, like something isn't right. Something's not adding up. And she's like, yeah, but this has been going on and I've tried to tell him and he keeps doing it. And I'm just like, no, like something isn't right, to where something's up with not just what's going on, right, but with him, right? And so it goes back to, going and talking, and I always think of people's upbringing, because that also plays a huge factor, right? I feel like I'm gonna lose train of thought if I start doing this, but I'm gonna try. It plays a huge factor into who people become, right? So at that given moment, I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm able to help her, because I helped her the first time she reached out, right? And I gave her advice and it worked. You know, things mulled over, things got better, right? But then this is like maybe a month or two later, and things got worse, obviously, right? Because he reverted back or whatnot. So in that given moment, I told her, there's nothing I can do over the phone. And I was like, do you need me to go over there? because I might have to talk to him myself, because I don't know what he's thinking. And obviously you're not being able to get through to him, so maybe if I come over, right, he might be able to hear me out, hear a different perspective. Mind you, tenía un miedo. Why? Because, okay, I am very much a people person, okay? I am very observant and know, well, actually, because I'm very observant, I learn people, right? And how they are, how they function, right? So, with this particular individual, right, her husband, I was like, I don't know. I don't know, because he is a different kind of breed, okay? And I'm like telling her, like, yeah, I'm super down to go out there. Made a whole last house call, right? And I go over, and she and I are talking and stuff, and she basically wanted to set it up to where I was able to talk to him alone, which is what I told her, that I needed to speak to him alone, because with her presence it might make him feel some type of way. But like I said, I was scared because I didn't know what his reaction would be, right? Anybody else, I would know exactly what to say, exactly what approach to take, right? But with him, it was a whole different ball game. So we were talking, you know, all three of us real chill, and then something came up. There was a topic that came up, and he stood his ground about it, right? And so me and her were looking at each other, and I told her, that's exactly what I'm scared of. Because imagine, it was just a light topic. I don't even remember what it was. But he was like, oh no, I feel strongly this way, right? And she and I were like, no, but you got to think of this, this, and this. And he was like, no, I feel strongly this way. And so that's when I turned to her and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, this is exactly what I'm worried about, because if we're talking about something as light as this and he's reacting that way, imagínate when we bring up the seriousness of what we're trying to talk about, va a decir lo mismo. He's going to say the same thing. So I was like, oh my goodness. Right? So I was like, my heart was pounding because I didn't know how to bring it up. Porque mira, en mi mente dije yo, ay, what if he kicks me out? What if he gets so upset that I'm bringing this up? You know, because there might be part machista in him, right? So I was like, oh my God. So I always try to make sure that people don't feel less than, right? When I'm bringing something up, I'm like trying to reason with them. Like, I'm side by side. We're together on this. Like, I care and love about y'all very much. So this is why I'm bringing it to your attention, you know? And so we begin, or she tried to leave the room, and girl, it didn't work because I didn't know what to do. I was just like, So when she came back, right, she started tearing up. And so I'm looking at her like, I don't know what to do. And so she's tearing up, and I'm like, crap. Like, I have to think of something, you know? So he looks at her. And this is when I knew we had him, right? And I'm not saying that in no kind of ill type way. I said we had him because we have his attention now, right? So he looked at her, and he's like, ¿Qué tienes? ¿Qué pasó? And then that's when I started to tell this individual, hey, this is why I'm here. I want to talk to you, but I don't know how to state what's wrong because I don't want you getting upset. He's like, but what is it? Why is she crying, you know? And so I told him, like, do you think it's fair for you to come home after your long day at work and tell her, oh, is that all you did all day? Why didn't you get all this other stuff done? Do you think that's fair? And he was like, well, it's because I do work long days and this and that, right? And I'm like, so does she. You think she doesn't work hard while she's here at home? And he was like, I mean, well, she's just at home. And I'm like, okay. And that's exactly the problem. I'm like, I get, and I was telling him, like, I get you're out on the field all day, right? I get it. But it's not fair for you to come home and make her feel like she hasn't done anything, right? I'm like, that's not you. You have always been 100% supportive of this woman. Through anything. Through school, through college, through every endeavor that she has gotten herself involved in, you saw her through it. And now for you not to be supportive doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, right? And so he was in shock to see her like that. And so I asked him, I was like, look, I'm not just here for her. I'm like, I'm here for you too. I was like, because I get it. You may feel like you don't have, people. She's super close to her people. She talks to them every day. She confides in them about everything. I was like, but you don't really have that same dynamic with your people, So that's why I'm here, because I want to know what is going on. Is there something that you are carrying around that you haven't spoken about, or what? What is it? We're here to talk about it, So, like I said, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, he's about to kick me out, But no, he was in shock mostly, and was like, he couldn't believe that it was that bad, And so I was like, well, is there anything, that you want to bring up that may upset you, but you don't say anything, so te lo guardas or something, And at first he was like, no, right? But then the wife was like, oh yeah, this, and this, and she was bringing up what she had already brought up to me about how when he comes home, he doesn't show her appreciation for everything she's done, and he makes her feel less than, right? And then she gave more specifics into things, right? And he's just listening, which I was so thankful for, because sometimes it could become like, oh no, I don't even want to hear it, more often than not. So I was very thankful, and I would say that, I'm thankful that you're hearing her out, because this is really an issue. Like, she shouldn't have to feel this way. And so I asked him again, and he was like, no, like, we're good, right? And I feel like that, him saying that he was good, right, was him, he doesn't want to get involved with putting their business out there, right? And I respected that. I get it, right? But it's me. It was just me. And now it's us, so shh, don't tell no one. And so, she kept, bringing up other things that were bothering her. I'm doing pretty good, dude. And so, I gotta make sure this thing doesn't run low. So she brought up other things, to point out to him and stuff, and he's just listening, and he was doing the thing we were worried about of like brushing it off, like, oh, she's just being dramatic, or oh, she needs to just get over it, like she can't just be mad about something all day, like that's not who I am. And so I try to make it clear to him, I get that you're not built that way. I'm like, but she is. So it's important for you to acknowledge when she's upset and validate her and get past it, rather than telling her you need to just get over that. And then he kept saying it. She needs to just get over it. Stop being upset about things, right? So I'm trying to understand him. I really was. Because en parte sí le entiendo que no quiere estar en pleito. Who does, right? But it's not that she's trying to be in a fight. She's just sharing, hey, this is what's upsetting me. So it's important for the other person to acknowledge that. That's a huge, huge thing. You have to acknowledge the other so that you guys can get past it. And I've talked about this in another video, how important it is to express when something's bothering you right then and there. as soon as you possibly can, because then you can move past it. If not, it begins to grow and become something heavier than it needs to be, right? So then the unexpected happens, right? And he begins to express things that have been bothering him. So I'm like, okay. And he begins to talk, right? And the wife almost talks over him. And I tell her, hold on, just hold on. Because he did amazing with not interrupting her. And even when he did, I was like, hold on, let her talk, you know? And so that's another important thing, that we have to make sure we listen to each other attentively. Allow each other to vocalize what we're feeling, what we're thinking. Because if we interrupt, there's nothing moving in the right direction. We're at a standstill. If they're both bickering, right? No one is moving in the right direction. We're at a standstill. So take the time to just sit back and really listen to what the other's saying, right? So he began to express that something as simple as not having their dogs inside the house. Like it upsets him. He's not a dog person, but he does it for her. And he just expressed how upset he would get about that, right? And so I asked her, did you know about that? And she's like, yeah, I mean, he's talked about it before, but... And she started standing her ground on how she feels, right? And so that's when I tried to tell her, but do you think that's fair to him? He's told you before his concern and you are completely just brushing it off. So that's also not fair. Do you see that? And she's like, okay, like I get it, you know. And so at the end of the talk, I felt, right, that everyone had a better understanding of each other. Where they both did, right? I'm just the mediator, trying to make sure that their points get across and that they're listening, or if one isn't understanding the other, helping them interpret it to each other, right? So that's why I'm saying how important it is to be present when someone is confiding in you and telling you, hey, this is what's bothering me. Because then you can be that person for them, to comfort them, to tell them everything's going to be okay. And it's important that you remind people of that. Because when people are going through it, right, we're in the storm. We don't see no light at the end of the tunnel. We're going through the storm. But if someone pulls up next to you and is holding the umbrella and tells you, hey, it's going to be okay, then that's going to make a huge difference. And I truly hope that gave you a visual, because that's exactly how my mind functions, is visuals. Because like I said, when we're in the storm, we can't see a damn thing. All this rain and thundering and lightning, we can't see, right? But we're just feeling the chaos. So if someone comes and tells you that they're going through it, and you are the one to come into that middle of the storm to hold that umbrella over their head and tell them it's gonna be okay, that can give them a sense of hope, which is what you would want to provide for your loved ones or those who trust in you, is a sense of hope. Because then it gives them some kind of inner peace through the storm. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's that important. So if you take how do you say it? Take away anything from this video, it's that. Is you being the one to pull up with your umbrella and your rain boots and saying, it's gonna be okay. Mind you, the person holding that umbrella and the boots might not even know how long that storm is gonna last, right? We don't know. We don't. But you pulling up with that umbrella and the rain boots gives them that sense of hope. And that's all you got to do. Hear them out. But when I say hear them out, you really got to put your phone down and really engage and see how what they're expressing is affecting them. Because we be so caught up in our phones, bro. And that's so not healthy for anyone. Because that was something I just saw on Gabriel Iglesias. He has a series on Netflix, right? Where there's a guidance counselor that comes in. And she's talking to Gabriel about electronics, because Gabriel was gonna do like he wanted all his kids to have electronics, right? But there was only enough for half of the class, so he was gonna do a test and see who would get the best score, right? The students that could only use their books, but they would work in a group, or the kids that had their electronics, right? And so the guidance counselor, trying to see if I could pull it on with this, can pull up, she had a laptop right in front of her and said, hey, this is the difference between the two, right? The two groups. So the electronics one, and pretend this is a laptop, she said, when we have this up, you're visually and literally creating a barrier between the two people, right? So that's electronics. That's what you're doing when you're on your phone, when you're talking to someone. There's a barrier, right? That sounded like my mom's keys. Now, when it comes to textbook, boop, no barrier. You're open to them. You see what I mean? This is extremely important, because we have missed that somehow. So all I'm saying is be that sense of hope for someone. It doesn't take a lot. Active listening and giving them a reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And just try to lift their spirits. Think of the things that make them laugh. Think of their favorite things. Distract them from that storm, even if it is for an instant while you guys are hanging out, because it'll give their mind a break from the chaos. So I hope you guys can take something from this video and know that when I come on here, it's truly to enlighten you guys, because my ultimate goal is for us to come together, for us to be supportive of one another, because these storms are bound to happen in our lives. We can't have sunshine every day. We can't. We need those storms to grow. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm so serious. It's really important. But if we can get through those storms together, that makes it even more fruitful, you know? So hang in there if you are going through a storm right now. This is your sign that everything is gonna get better. You just have to give it time. And don't think that you're gonna be in this storm forever. Just put one foot in front of the other and have daily goals. Be grateful for what you do have. And things are bound to get better. Stay strong. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you guys have an amazing rest of your day or night whenever you decide to watch this. And I will see you guys real soon. Talk to you later. Bye.